Hello and welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Good News Doctor podcast. Now, for so many episodes, you've heard me talk about my accident and about a time when I was at the deepest, darkest spot of my recovery, and I had to reach in real low and deep and find that Olympian inside of myself. Find some sort of athlete that was willing to work really hard and find that 1 ounce of inspiration and then give gallons of perspiration and fight really hard to find that next breakthrough. And then once I found that breakthrough, it wasn't a matter of if I was going to find the next breakthrough, it was when. And with that attitude, I was able to work really hard and bring that champion out and find the next one and find the next one and then eventually get myself better. And since then, I have worked really hard at pulling that champion out in each and every one of you, because inside everybody, there's a champion that's just waiting to come out. Well, for today's episode, I am so excited to bring to you one of the world's greatest champions. We have Ronnie George here today, and he is an 83-year young athlete who has been a champion in over 5 sports and over 40 medals. And here today, we're going to talk about what it takes to get out of bed and motivate yourself to get that ounce of inspiration every single day, to get yourself up and be that champion over and over again for over 8 decades, and keep pushing your body to the limits and continue to be that champion. So welcome, Ronnie. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Us.
I am so excited, truly am.
Awesome. So, wow, 5 different sports. Oh my goodness.
For now, I'm going for 10 to be a decathlon of sports. But right now it's 5, then I'm going to go to 7, and then to 10.
So tell me, where did it start?
It started in New York City, where the city never sleeps. So I grew up in the right environment because of that, because everybody's on the go. They're moving. You go out to Central Park, which is a huge park, and everybody's just having a beautiful life in New York City. And I got that inspiration. My mother took me to a Broadway play, and I saw all that great things happening in a buzz of a city. And that's when I decide, there's a little side note to that, is that I went to this beautiful school right off Central Park West, and I found out all the young ladies went to dance school. So I asked my buddy, who ended up in West Side Story, hey, let's go to the dance schools, because that's where the girls were. So I started to learn ballet, modern dance, modern jazz, and little did I know, it helped me immensely in sports. And now, later on, you find out the trainers, the coaches, they send their linemen to school, just to be more flexible, move those feet fast and never stop. So at 5'10", 5'11", approximately, I could dunk in basketball. I ended up to be the number 1 basketball player in New York City, averaging over 34 points a game, which I believe might have been a record there. I'm not sure, but nobody surpassed me. And so I got my first medal. That was my first medal, was winning the championship in New York City in an all-star game for high school players.
For basketball?
For basketball.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. But then I was also doing a lot of swimming and tennis. I wasn't too good in tennis, but when I moved to the Caribbean, I started winning tournaments because everything was so beautiful. I just wanted to be outside all the time and play tennis. And then when I was in the service, the United States Army, I won the table tennis tournament. And so things just happened. But, there was always something that motivated me. Like in the first sort of boot camp, first week in the U.S. Army, said anybody can go home if they win the physical fitness test. I won. So I got a weekend pass to go to New York City, back home where I'm at, but at least I was free. Couldn't find my parents, though, because they didn't expect me. So my life just has been one nonstop, beautiful life, and being the number one basketball player in private schools was a big accomplishment.
Well, thank you for your service, by the way.
You're welcome. It's great. It was great.
So, table tennis?
Table tennis, and I'm taking lessons right now to compete in table with a lady in your neighborhood right here. Okay, and
Fantastic.
yes, in Estero Rec Center, she teaches table tennis, especially people with Parkinson's, because the greatest thing for Parkinson patients because of the reflex action.
So, is this going to be the 6th?
No, that's the 5th.
Oh, this is the 5th.
The tennis is the 4th. Swimming is the 3rd. Basketball the 2nd. Track is the 1st.
Okay.
Yes, and then I'm going to bring in probably a bike, or time bike, would be the 6th. And because everybody else is doing it, I probably will. And I see a lot of great athletes doing pickleball. So that'll be my 7th. And then I have to think about the other 3.
Well, living here in Southwest Florida, I see that they just held the Pickleball World Championships right here in our backyard.
Number 1 in the world.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
fantastic.
right in East Naples.
So, just looking at how fit you are, tell me, how do you keep in shape?
I never stop. You know, like as I said earlier, in the city that never sleeps, you never stop. There's too much.
So you're just running everywhere?
Just
Like,
going.
look at Ronnie go.
Well, actually, my father was a pharmacist, and what I used to do, I would deliver the prescriptions. So he said, yep, here's some bus money. Forget about that. He knew what I was doing. I said, good, I'll outrace the buses. So I would just go on the streets. I would outrace the buses. That was my fun thing, deliver the prescriptions to the people and come back and I get my next one. So we laughed, but it was fun. Yeah.
So you wake up every morning, you have a routine. You do cardio every day still?
Cardio almost every day, but not 4 days. Okay. I was at the track this morning. Okay.
So how many miles a day are you
I don't
doing?
do miles.
Okay.
I do sprints. Okay, because that way I'll never injure myself. So the most important thing is I don't get injured. I do pull some muscles, calf muscles occasionally, but if I keep just sprinting, okay, let's say if I'm going to do a 50 meter, 100 meters, 200 meters, I can't really hurt myself. But if I beat up my body by going 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, I have fast twitch muscles.
You put more wear and tear on your body that
Oh,
way.
you do. Okay, so I really enjoy just short sprints, high jump, long jump, anything that's fast. See, pickleball is not fast to me. Okay, other people say,
Short
no, they
movements,
move. But to me, it's not fast, so it didn't really excite me. But it is a phenomenon. Okay, so since it's a phenomenon, I'm going to be phenomenal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember playing pickleball for years, and then my son asked me to play racquetball with him. And in 3 minutes playing racquetball, I was huffing and puffing. I couldn't believe how winded I was.
Yeah.
And we were in the same size court, and I couldn't believe what more of a workout it was.
Yes, it is. Well, I played a little handball in New York at the YMHA on 92nd Street in New York, and fast action.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. So pickleball, it's good if making sure that it's agility, but you have to warm up, because if you don't warm up, you're making quick movements, and if you pick it up when you of age, you could pull muscles. Okay, and twist an ankle. So the most important thing is to go out and jog for few minutes, warm up your muscles, do some assisted isolated stretching, which is just 2-second stretches. The number one stretching person in the world, Aaron Mattis, that's all he does is 2-second stretches. Much more effective, and that's what I do in my practice.
What about weight training? Are you weight training still?
I do resistance training.
Okay, like isometrics?
Isometric. Okay. Isometric is, and again, you cannot hurt you. You could, but it's unlikely.
Like 7 seconds?
Well, it's a feel. I know 7 seconds, 10 seconds. I can get against a wall and do my push-ups. Okay, and just slow. But everything I do is slow. If I'm gonna do just push-ups or triceps, it's gonna be very slow. If I'm gonna do some dips, it's slow. So I'm really recruiting every ligament, muscle in my body. If I go fast, to me, it doesn't work. My body, it's slower is better.
Yeah, you tell me that you're a massage therapist too, right?
Correct, and I love it. Every time I'm finished doing a massage, I thank the patient for giving me the workout.
Right.
And they say, "Oh, then you should pay me." I say, that's the joke we have, because I'm really going in there.
You are.
So when I did those 600 to 700 chair massages after Ian, my upper body was stronger than ever.
It's phenomenal.
Yes.
Most people I know that are massage therapists, after a decade or two, they're tore up.
4 years.
Their shoulders are done. Their back is done. Their neck is done. They have to literally retire because they wore themselves out of a job.
I've been doing it 18 years. I started off I did well in school, which I didn't know how I could possibly do that because I hadn't been in a school setting or studying for so long. But I recruited a couple ladies who were really smarter than me, and I said, let's do a little group. And after that, I came second in my class, so the school asked me to teach. And then I realized one great thing, I'm not a teacher like that. But I did 1 year of teaching at the school that I graduated from. And yeah, massage gives one a great workout.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing that you're so fit and that you could go down there and serve during a crisis time like that all day for so many days, so many weeks in a row, and not fall apart.
I don't know. Seriously, I don't know how I did not.
Grace of God.
Yeah, that's right. It had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be because I was putting in between the travel, which is 1 hour out to Sanibel or Fort Myers Beach, etc. It was 2 hours in traveling in traffic, heavy traffic, because everybody was trying to recover from the storm. And then I go down into these dark places and do massages on the policemen, which were they're built, and the firemen and the first responders, and of course the people who've lost so much. They came to us, and I did about 20 massages a day.
Wow. It was truly just devastating. It was like a war zone. Unless you were here and experienced it, you couldn't even imagine. The TV and the newscast tried to give you an idea of what it would look like here, but you just couldn't put it into words. You really couldn't.
No, you can't. And when you saw some of the people who lost their homes come back to see what it's like, it was more psychological work I did, actually, because I lived in St. Croix. That's another chapter in my life. I left New York City, moved to St. Croix for 20 years, and I got devastated by Hurricane Hugo, which was a Category 5. I lost my home, but I know what all the people went through. So I was able to talk to the people while I'm massaging and relay to them what I had to go through to pick myself up with, total devastation.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I did that for about 90 days. Really, I would say 5 to 6 days a week.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's
10 hours a day. But there was a task force that the government, Florida government, put together.
Yeah. So, we talked a lot about, one of the keys to you being healthy and to you being able to maintain this level of fitness and to win, over 40 medals in your lifetime was the key is to being in homeostasis and staying there as often and as much as you can, and how most people really don't know what that is. And they spend their whole life outside of it and each day just touching the wall of it, but not getting to thrive in that space.
It's a matter of being attuned to yourself.
Yeah.
And some people just brush it aside,
Right.
okay, until they get the awareness. Let's not brush this as you, okay? So as many people as I can touch, I say, well, listen, let's just do 10 minutes of exercise or 5 minutes. Make sure you walk a little bit and change your pace when you're walking, so you're not walking at the same pace all the time. And then just, find a wall, do some push-ups against a wall, 10 minutes. And I work out, by the way, as far as weights and all that stuff, really only 2 hours a week. Okay, but it's well defined, so I don't have to go to a gym and lift all these big weights. I don't lift anything more than 8 pounds.
So it's a few minutes here and there, condensed, focused.
But it's just slow. When you go slow, when you go in this slow, you're really recruiting every muscle in your body this way. Okay, in your arms, and then when you're doing this, you're squeezing your stomach at the same time to give you the stomach muscles, so you don't have a bad back. So many things that are interrelated. But I believe the best thing that ever happened to me was following those girls to the dance schools, and I got my body in such shape that as a 10-year-old, I forgot how old, you don't know what to do. Okay. All I knew, I said, my buddy said, that's where the ladies are, let's go. And it became so much fun. And just, I could move, like this. And I've got pictures of that, just soaring above everybody else and dunking, and that was a big achievement when you're a kid. Can you dunk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was lots of fun. And then I was working for a firm out of Geneva, Switzerland. So I took a trip to Geneva, okay, and it was a mutual fund company. And then I started meeting people from all over the world. I would learn what they thought about being healthy or not. And so traveling a lot, which I was very fortunate to be able to do that at such a young age, really helped a lot. And moving from the United States proper to an island for 20 years, you learned how, you can get fresh fish. The fresh food. The fishermen come in on Wednesday morning, Saturday morning. You're down at the docks, you get the fish. Okay?
Huge difference.
Yes. Then I never had coconuts. So then now I have coconut water every day. Okay, but after moving there, I said, this is... And a lot of people, I found out they wash their hair with coconut. There's so many things you can do with the coconut, And so I'm a firm believer of coconut, but a firm believer of having, a broad food choices. Okay, I don't like the word diet, because it, so... If anybody really looked at that word, no, I don't want that. Food choices, FC. I can do FC. I can't diet.
That's great.
And to vary your food choices, I love fish. Fish is what I really eat.
How about grounding? How about PEMF and grounding, like walking on the grass and the beaches and that? How important is that for you?
Extremely. I didn't realize that either until I moved to St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. I was on the beach just maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and walking barefoot, of course. You really ground yourself, and then you go into this beautiful ocean, and you get all the salt water that you want. And you learn your body is really getting into better shape. Because if you look at the Olympics, who looked the best? The swimmers. They look better than any other because you're using every muscle in your body when you swim. I wasn't a prolific swimmer in New York, but when I got to the Virgin Islands, I did.
So for the people that don't have access to the beach right next door, like we're fortunate of having, and don't necessarily have access to grass and a yard that we can ground ourselves daily, because we know how important that is, what do they do when we live in the city or when we're insulated from being grounded and recharging ourselves? What do we do, and what do you do when you're not having access to that?
Well, I found a PMF device many years ago that was very important to me. And the segue into that, my grandmother died at 111. And the only reason she died was lack of oxygen. So bingo, right? I know that oxygen, I'm going to search what does best to create the oxygen. And then I found the PMF device that circulates the blood through the capillaries.
Right.
And then I found another company that with the endocalyx allows the oxygen, the blood flow to come through even more efficiently. Okay, so home run.
Yeah.
That's a home run.
It's so exciting. As technology gets better, people have access to this. It's almost reckless if we don't have use and access to this to be able to get to homeostasis so easily. It's reckless not to use that, because we're just living our whole life with this low potential in ourselves and not in homeostasis, and we're carelessly aging quickly, right?
Yeah, we don't have to age.
That's right.
We really don't.
We can grow younger.
We can. No, you follow me. You could.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if you don't follow me, I don't know about that. Okay. But just move. I would say what people don't do is move.
Right.
Okay, so therefore, if you don't move, you don't get that homeostasis. You don't feel your body. You don't know what to do with your body.
So you're not saying like move, pick up your house and go somewhere where there is grass. You're saying get your body up and start walking. Get your body moving. Maybe you do need to get out of town and actually move to a better area. But the big point here is actual physical movement. Like we're not physically moving.
We're
and that's
not.
the problem.
And one of the best and easiest and fun ways to do it is through dance. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
People love music. So you turn on whatever device you've got and just move. You sing in the shower, so you can dance when nobody's watching. Okay? And do that. You couple that with the technology that we have to go along with that, with like the PMF devices that get better and better through the ages. You bring that into place, and boy, you're living vibrantly.
You bet.
In the book that I'm Healthy Aging by Ronnie George, that's what I talk about. Okay, right. I talk. Nothing so profound, but when you think about it, it is profound.
You bet.
It's the simplest things in life that we do not do, and it's right abounding you. So if you're living in Manhattan, for example, because that's where I grew up, you can go outside and walk, or if it's the wintertime, you bundle yourself out and you just go, or you just go outside where you live and just run in place. You don't have to go far. Just, jog in place. So you can do if you want to do. Yeah. So we are usually our own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. So I think in today's age, there's an abundance of technology. Okay, and then there's the great sources of water, which I drink a lot of water, and there's an abundance of healthy food.
Well, let's talk about that water for a second. Now, people say, well, I don't like water. It doesn't taste good.
Okay,
well, that's because
let me
you're
stop.
not drinking filtered water, right?
Right, you're not drinking this filtered water, but you can put a lemon in it. You can put a lime in it. I put a little spirulina in it, which tastes good. There's many things you can just put a little bit in there. And so, okay, I can get up and do that water. bad excuse usually.
You're 70% water.
Yes,
You have to drink water.
you have to drink. Okay, unless your body falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go 3 days without water, and that's it.
Yes.
And here's another simple fact. If you are drinking soda every day, a typical body takes 21 days to replace the water in your body. If you're somebody that drinks soda every day, it could take 11 months to replace the water in your body because it's 10,000 times more acidic than water. And so that takes a long time to flip that water.
Yeah.
You know how rank the water tastes sitting next to your bed after a day and you didn't change it out and you got to drink that water? It just doesn't taste as good. A day old. What's 11-month water old taste like?
Yeah. Listen, if you have a bad car battery, just put a Coca-Cola on it and clean it up. That should wake you up.
Yeah, let's put that in our body.
Yeah. Take that.
For 11 months.
Yeah, take that. So you've got the car battery or your battery,
Interesting.
right? Think about it.
That's right.
When you think about it, and not to change what you're doing, but modify. Because anybody who says, I'm going to change, you got to take baby steps.
Every now and then, challenge the system.
Absolutely.
See how efficiently you can get rid of that stuff. Just don't challenge it often.
Yeah.
Not that often.
No.
Follow it up by a bunch of good stuff again so it realizes how it's supposed to function. Don't make it go into survival mode all the time.
No.
Make it blow the whistle and say, hey, back up, everybody. This is some bad stuff coming down. Nobody needs to touch it. Let it pass right by the assembly line. If it keeps coming, they're like, all right, I'm sorry to do this, but everybody needs to put on your mask and go dumpster diving because we need to get those nutrients one way or another.
Absolutely. And swimming in the ocean here, but wherever people can, you got the salt. I mean, it's a great source, and we've got it here. In fact, you can just jump into the ocean, come out, you're good. So there are many different things you can do. You don't have to have money to do almost all of this. But I would say, yes, let's get back to the water. You just a little bit of lemon, a little bit of lime, a little bit of spirulina, something that will give it, that's what I have in my water, and I have lime.
I've even heard a little bit of sea salt.
Sea salt, yes.
Just to start absorbing it more.
Yes. Good. Excellent. Sure. I haven't done it, but yeah. So, yes, water is H2O. We need it. We need it. But so many people dry up because they don't. And I'm not perfect on that either, because I say, oh, gee, I'm doing this. I don't have time to drink the water, but I pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I had a doctor tell me, try to get all your water intake, which is half your body in ounces. Try to drink that by 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
First thing in the morning, I have 2 glasses of water.
Yep, me too.
Oh, okay.
And I try to drink all my water by 12 or 1 o'clock. And then I'm just never thirsty. If you're trying to get it all by the end of the day, you'll be getting up to go to the bathroom several times a night. If you can get it all by noon, then you're drinking extra water throughout the afternoon, and you're just not thirsty.
No. Water.
Yeah. So you got a book coming out. I know you mentioned it. Tell us a little more about it.
Okay, well, the book really tells you, or I just relate what we're talking about, that everything is in abundance out here. It's just a matter of how we take it in for ourselves. And the most important thing is never give up, because we're going to stumble. Okay? What is it? The most successful people in the world fail 70% of the time. So let's say we fail 80% of the time. So what? That 20%, is vital. Just keep on going. Never stop.
I had somebody ask me how I got out of my wheelchair, and I was remembering a quote that I heard when I was probably 10 years old, that they were asking somebody, man, it's so amazing, whatever. I don't even remember what this guy's feat was, what his challenge was and how he overcame it. But he goes, oh, it was real simple. I fell down 6 times and I got up 7.
Yep. Because we
and
know.
that's what he said. And that's what kept holding me on through all the worst times. Is like, I just got to get up 7. And that's all I got to do.
We all know we're going to fall down.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how we get back up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in the book, it really tells you from the day almost I was born, okay, how my parents, sacrificed to send me to a really good school, and said always broaden your horizons. And so early on, I would go to camp, and I would be very active in camps, and just never stop doing. But living in Manhattan, there was so much there, I couldn't take it all in because it was really a lot. So I just said, okay. I took a trip once to Barbados, and I said, this is fabulous. Where else can I go to? I can go to the U.S. Virgin Islands and work there. So I would go there every winter.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when I got married, had my son, we went to St. Croix. I lived there 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. And then my second marriage, she was from Denmark. So we'd always travel back and forth to Denmark. And so I found everything about Scandinavia. In fact, my son grew up in Sweden, and my granddaughter's in Sweden. So it's, and they're now in London. So, but life, just keep on going. There's so much in this world. Don't say, I can't do this. You can do anything you want to do if you want to do it bad enough.
Well, I know I hate to say this, but I have to say it. You spent a lot of your life living outside the U.S.
Yes.
And eating a lot of plant-based food.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah.
growing, eating things that were grown from the earth. And I had lots of patients over the years that lived half the year outside the U.S., half the year here, would eat very similar food, both places. And whenever they came back here, they started getting sick. And they would eat or gaining weight, not necessarily sick, but have some symptoms like allergies or weight gain. And then they go back to Norway or Sweden or wherever they were.
Caribbean.
And they would lose the weight again and get healthy again. And they come back, and it's because of the way it's genetically modified, or it's not organic, or it's just the processed stuff. And they go back to eating non-processed. And it's like we almost have to start having our own growing in our backyard again, like we did back in the 50s and 60s.
Well,
we have to start taking responsibility for ourselves, growing our own food, and getting back to that practice if we want to start being healthy and living long again.
In the 50s growing up, and it was all pretty much organic food. We didn't have all these big groceries, so therefore it was all I would say at least 50%, everything was organic. You go out to your local grocery store, which is small, and that would be great. We would have everything that we need right there. Growing up in New York City, or wherever a person was growing up, probably even better if they're outside of the city, is that most produce and fish was really organic. We didn't have to search for organic. Right now, fortunately, there's a place in Naples that's called Juicelation, that they have these bottles of juice that's homegrown, all 100% organic. So I take a sip of that and I swish it in my mouth. I don't drink it. I swish it a lot so I can absorb all the nutrients. So today's age, you got to hunt and peck.
Right.
Okay.
It's almost like that's why I take all my whole food supplements, because I look at my vitamins as my life insurance. This is getting my body all the things that we used to get in the 50s from our food.
Yes.
And now I have to just eat as clean as I can and avoid toxins, but I have to rely on supplements now to get what my cells need to be healthy, because the food is so depleted of all that stuff from the soil and the processing of what we used to be guaranteed from the earth. It's just not guaranteed anymore.
Because it's just a matter of thinking about where the plants and the food is grown. They go over that soil, all over the soil, and it's depleted, the nutrients. So you don't get it. Okay.
Unfortunately, you can't look at your food, whether you're at a nice restaurant or whether you're at the grocery store, and say, well, it looks green. Must have everything in there, right?
Yeah. Well, and by the way, I got to say, a lot of people are depleted in magnesium. That's number one thing, nutrient that I take, okay? Because we cannot talk about the food. We can't get it in enough food sources. So
Well, being an athlete, it's the calcium contracts your muscles and magnesium lets them go.
yes.
And if
I
you don't have
do
enough,
that,
you are not letting go.
I am in bad shape. And that's when I pull a muscle here and there.
Oh, yeah.
Is if I know, oh, gosh, I haven't done that right.
Yeah, I bet.
Because we are our own worst enemy. We know what to do. So it doesn't matter if we're going to be, forward thinking and say, I'm going to do this. So I got my magnesium right in front of the fridge, so I don't miss it.
So let me ask you, going into these next medals that you're going to be competing for, I know you have all these gold medals and
And silver and bronze.
silver and bronze in all these different categories. What age group are you competing with now? I know that you have you've been 80 years young and still competing with people, 65 and older?
Well, no, they were in age groups, but
Okay.
I started this aspect of competing at 75.
Okay.
I started running at 75.
Wow.
Okay, and I started competing in swimming at 75. Basketball, forget about it.
That was
number one.
young.
I was number one in New York City.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was easy. Now with tennis, it's the age groups aren't as prevalent as in the first three that I mentioned. But so therefore, I'm in the age group of 80 to 85.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's your next race? What's your next?
Well, because of the virus, et cetera, a lot of the events were cut short. But in the fall, there's a whole slew of them. And then in December, there'll be the races and the events for the state of Florida, usually in the Orlando area.
Do you know what you want to compete in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters.
Oh, hence why you're doing all your sprints right now,
Yes.
as you're preparing for
Correct.
these events.
And
Got
the
it.
same with the 50 meters and possibly 100 meters with swimming. And but a lot of times what is difficult is arranging when I'm going to compete with track or I'm going to compete with tennis.
Because they might overlap.
They overlap in times. So, I mean, if I was able to, I would do 5 sports. But I know it's a
Logistical nightmare.
it is tough. Right. Yeah, but I'll compete with everything I can fit in.
So is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience? Words of wisdom?
Well, the words "never give up."
Yeah.
Okay, is probably the best thing because we're going to get knocked down, as I said earlier, but it's just a matter of how we get up. So the words of wisdom that we innately know what's best, okay? And so you got to go with your inner feeling, okay? Because that's correct. We know what's correct. And when we don't do it correct, we pay the price. So just go by your gut feeling. That's why they say that your gut is, is your health. So it's going to be your health, the mind and your body.
That's right.
So I would say just 3 words. I love Nike's saying, just do it.
Just do it. All right, everybody. So you've heard it from the man himself, the legend, Ronnie George. Just get off the couch, stop being lazy, pull out that Olympian inside each and every one of you, and just do it. Never give up. As long as you are breathing today, you have a champion inside of yourself. You have to find homeostasis, and as long as you can stay inside homeostasis long enough, do whatever it takes to get there, and you will get better, and you will become the best version of yourself. And so thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today.
Okay, and the book, Healthy Aging by Ronnie G. Amazon's going to publish it in June.
Awesome. Thank you, Ronnie.
My
Appreciate you.
pleasure. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye now.